don't need that. We don't need that. Let's just, can I just confirm that we have, you're going to name everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, we actually have another.
Yeah, like the more the better. I'm on Zoom there, but together and thanks for. Okay.
What is it?
Well said. Well, good morning, everyone. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Kwe. I also want to recognize that we're on the land of the Algonquin-Anishinàbeg Nation, whose ancestors have been stewards of this land for over 6,000 years. I very much value our relationship with our surrounding Algonquin communities, Pikwakanagan and Kitigàn-zìbì, as well as all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit residents in Ottawa. I also want to acknowledge that it has been a difficult few months for Canada's Indigenous peoples following the discovery of unmarked mass graves at residential schools across our country. My thoughts are with them and the entire Indigenous community as we try to make sense of these horrific discoveries and chart a way forward towards reconciliation. I'm very pleased that Grand Chief John Boudreaux and Chief Dylan White Duck could be with us for this important event. Thank you both very, very much. Grand Chief Boudreaux was recently elected at the helm of the Algonquin-Anishinàbeg National Tribal Council. Congratulations, Grand Chief. And I also spotted the Grand Chief on CBC News World sporting a Montreal Canadiens jersey. He is a big Montreal Canadiens fan. We had a very good first meeting last week, which I think bodes well for the future of our relationship, and I look forward to working with you in the coming years. It is also my pleasure to welcome today the Honourable Catherine McKenna, Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, Greg Fergus, le député fédéral pour Hull-Aylmer and Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister, le maire de Gatineau, Maxime Pedneaud-Jobin, Jeff Leeper, Councillor for Kitchissippi, and Toby Nussbaum, CEO of the National Capital Commission, our city staff and residents, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs. Bienvenue à vous tous et merci d'être ici aujourd'hui pour cette annonce vraiment importante pour la ville d'Ottawa. I want to thank Minister McKenna for being here today to share some really good news and provide more details on our plan to transform the now Chief William Commanda Bridge into an active transportation corridor. Et j'ai maintenant l'honneur d'inviter Greg Fergus, le député pour Hull-Aylmer, à nous adresser la parole. Greg.
Bon matin tout le monde. Good morning, everybody. I'm pleased to join you today for this really exciting announcement. And thank you for everyone who is joining us today. In particular, I would like to thank Grand Chief Boudreaux for being here. Certainly Chief White Duck from Kitigàn-zìbì to join us. Toby Nussbaum, le premier dirigeant de la Commission de la Capitale nationale. Madame McKenna, une grande amie, députée, ministre, puis une libérale extraordinaire, je devrais dire. Certainement le maire d'Ottawa, Jim Watson, un ami vieil de 33 ans maintenant. Maxime Pedneaud-Jobin, un ami aussi vieux de ce temps-là. Ça fait un bon bout qu'on se connaît. Et puis certainement le conseiller Jeff Leeper. I'd like to take a moment today, of course, to recognize that today is National Indigenous Peoples Day. J'aimerais aussi reconnaître que nous sommes assemblés ici sur le territoire non cédé du peuple algonquin Anishinàbeg. For more than a year now, we have faced unprecedented challenges together during the COVID-19 pandemic. Communities in Quebec and Ontario, like all those across Canada, need help, and we are supporting them. Strategic investments in community, recreational, and public infrastructure are critical to building communities where residents can thrive. Modern and accessible active transportation networks allow Canadians to get around their communities in faster, cleaner, and more affordable ways. And now more than ever, we have to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to get out, to get active, and access public facilities. That is why I am particularly happy to be with you today and to learn more about this project which we're here to announce. Un projet qui va avoir un impact tellement positif, non seulement pour les gens de Gatineau, mais les gens d'Ottawa, puis pour toute la région de la capitale nationale. Alors, permettez-moi, je vais vous céder la parole sans délai à Catherine McKenna, l'honorable Catherine McKenna, la ministre qui est responsable pour les communautés et les infrastructures, pour vous donner les détails sur cette belle annonce. Merci.
Alors, un grand merci à vous, Greg. Alors, moi, je suis tellement heureuse d'être ici. I'm very happy to be here. This is probably one of my last, if not my last announcements here in Ottawa. So this is a very special one. It's something I heard a lot about from the community, and we're delivering. So that is always good. I also want to recognize we're on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinàbeg peoples, and it has been a really hard few months. Maybe you could say hard century in a bit for Indigenous peoples here in Canada. And I think Canadians, or maybe some Canadians, or we're just recognizing the major challenges and the impact of colonialism and of residential schools. It's great to be here with Grand Chief Boudreas, Chief White Duck, on National Indigenous Peoples Day. It's also a special day because today Mary Simon is inaugurated as the first Indigenous Governor General. And that really matters. I know Mary Simon. She's extraordinary. She's served as a diplomat. She's represented Inuit peoples, but more broadly, Indigenous peoples. She also cares greatly about the biggest challenge, I think, beyond reconciliation that we face, which is climate change. So also a very happy day as we move forward on reconciliation. It is great to be here with so many folks who care so much about our great community. And by that, I don't just mean Ottawa Centre, because we're connected Ottawa Centre to the rest of Ottawa, but also to Gatineau. So, of course, here with, where's the mayor? Mayor Jim Watson. He and I have done many events and announcements together, really focused on how do we build a better community, a more inclusive community, a community that's vibrant with good jobs, but also where people can get out in our beautiful nature. We have le maire Maxime Pedneaud-Jobin de Gatineau. On a travaillé beaucoup ensemble. Je sais, vous attendez encore le transport en commun. Il y a un grand projet, alors on travaille très fort sur celui-là aussi. We have Toby Nussbaum. Huge congratulations for recognizing the importance of getting folks out on the Ottawa River and really celebrating the Ottawa River, because this announcement is also about doing that. Jeff Leeper and I have worked very closely on Kitchissippi Ward and beyond, and a really special thanks to Greg Fergus. I feel really fortunate. I realize in politics everything is about the team, and Greg Fergus is extraordinary. He is an extraordinary member of Parliament representing the people of Hull-Aylmer. Je sais qu'ils sont très fiers de tout ce que vous faites, but also as the chair of the Black Caucus. You have been a fearless leader, always pushing our government to do more and Canadians to do more. And there's a lot of work to do. Greg, I will still be there, even if I am not in politics, working with you. Well, it's been quite a year and a half. I think everyone is quite happy that our vaccination rates are significant. A huge thanks to you, Mayor Watson, but also to Ottawa Public Health and all the nurses and healthcare workers who are helping to immunize our population. We will get out of the pandemic, and then we'll have the climate crisis to tackle. And today's announcement is also about that. It's how do we reimagine how we get around? How do we reimagine what's important to us? I think we would all agree after a year and a half of the pandemic that getting out to nature in your communities is extraordinarily important. And how do we do it together and build more inclusive communities where people can get out for free? And a lot of people don't have private nature. They don't have backyards. So we need to facilitate that as well. It's great to see there are people who care greatly about nature. I see folks behind us, which is great. So let's talk about this announcement. You can see the picture right here, which is the picture I think we all dream of. That this is the newly named, which I think is great, the Chief William Commanda footbridge, and well, I guess it's bridge, because it can be used for a whole range of ways to get around. It's a bridge that's been closed. As we know, there have been safety issues, but the focus now is on moving forward. The federal government is very pleased to be investing $8.6 million for a multi-use pathway on the bridge. And that will be, this is where, yes, we all cheer. If you can just imagine what that's going to mean. That's going to mean that kids can go across the bridge safely, that cyclists can access both sides. I think that we have an amazing cycling network. We need to enhance that. That means it's accessible for everyone. It connects communities, and it also hopefully gets more cars off the road because a lot of people commute between Ottawa and Gatineau. It's also exciting that it's been renamed Chief William Commanda Bridge because the Ottawa River is for millennia has been a meeting point for Indigenous peoples. And that makes a huge difference, recognizing that we are moving forward on something that brings communities together, that is part of the journey to reconciliation, and also is part of tackling climate change. So a really exciting announcement. I can't wait, I've got to say, to be on the bridge. And apparently it will be 4 seasons because I have been told that we will, I think by Groomer Dave, he has assured me, if anyone knows Groomer Dave, he is very determined, that we will be able to cross-country ski across the bridge in the winter as well, which is amazing. So I am leaving politics, which, it's sad, but there are other things I need to do. I've said it's to focus on my children. They have 5 years left at home, which is not a very long time, but also because there's so much more that needs to be done on climate change. But I'm really proud of the work we've been able to do together as a community. Vraiment un grand merci aux résidents d'Ottawa Centre et d'Ottawa et Gatineau généralement. Parce que je pense qu'on a atteint beaucoup. We've made really significant announcements on affordable housing. Just recently, talking about tens of thousands of units we're going to be fixing up, new units that we've announced, and that's really about making sure that everyone has a safe place called home. We've been making investments in community centers across the city. Those are really important, community culture and rec centers, so that every kid has an opportunity to have a safe place to go after school, to have activities. We've made announcements about greening the capital. This is part of greening the capital, but it's about a whole range of other things. Another footbridge we did was the Flora footbridge, which I think was amazing. And of course, light rail transit. The second phase of light rail transit will be the largest reduction of emissions of greenhouse gas emissions in Ottawa's history. So a range of things that we have done. I am going to continue trying to get announcements and investments going because, as I've said, every taxpayer dollar has to achieve 3 outcomes. It needs to create jobs and grow the economy at a time when we desperately need jobs. It needs to tackle climate change and build more resilient communities. And it needs to build a more inclusive Ottawa. And once again, just a huge thanks to the folks of Ottawa. It's been really amazing. I will still be here. I'm not running for mayor of Ottawa or Hamilton, for that matter. I'm going to be a private citizen, but who cares greatly about our community, and I will continue to do everything I can to build it. And it does need to be the greenest capital, so let's keep on that path. Thanks very much. And thank you. You're always doing this.
Well, thank you very much, Catherine. You didn't rule out running for mayor of Gatineau, I noticed, though. I just want to take a moment to thank the 2 previous speakers. First, Greg Fergus. Greg mentioned we've known each other for 30-plus years. I was a young staffer in the Speaker's office, and Greg was a first-year university student and a parliamentary page. And when I met him, I knew he was going to go places, and he's done such an incredible job as Member of Parliament for Hull. So thank you, Greg, for being with us. And Minister McKenna, it's been a real pleasure working with you over the course of the last several years. making announcements, working behind the scenes to get projects off the ground like the Flora Footbridge, the Innovation Centre just across the street here, the Ottawa Art Gallery, the Ottawa Crossing, and now today the great news that you've shared with us, federal funding for the Chief William Commanda Bridge, which will be used, as you pointed out, all seasons, cross-country skiing, cycling, rollerblading, walking, rolling, and really a great connection between our two great communities. And this was a commitment I made during the last election, as did Minister McKenna. And it's taken us a little while to get everything organized, but the announcement today is truly appreciative. And I want to thank my colleague Jeff Leeper. Councillor Leeper and I brought forward the motion just 2 weeks ago at City Council that renamed the bridge, but also the financial arrangements that were required in order to get construction of the bridge up and running. And we know that construction will start shortly and will be wrapped up by next year so people can come and use this wonderful bridge. So Minister McKenna, MP Greg Fergus, thank you very, very much. Transforming the William Commanda Bridge into an active transportation corridor will link an extensive network of pathways on both sides of the Ottawa River, and it will also connect them to the Bayview Station, the junction of north, south, east, west on LRT. This will connect communities in Gatineau and Ottawa and bring many benefits to our residents and to the environment with improved commuting options and better access to public transit. Ce projet important a plusieurs avantages pour nos communautés et nos résidents. I'm also pleased that following consultations with our Algonquin partners and Ottawa residents, City Council adopted a motion moved by Councillor Leeper and I at the July 7th meeting to officially rename the bridge in honor of Chief William Commanda. As a spiritual leader, promoter of environmental stewardship, and a great bridge builder between our nations, Chief Commanda was loved and respected by all. Je suis très fier que le Conseil a passé la motion pour renommer le pont en son honneur, un leader communautaire qui avait le respect de tout autour de lui. For his dedication and outstanding service for his people, William Commanda was awarded the Order of Canada in 2008. And I could not think of a more fitting name for the great bridge that crosses the Kitchissippi, the Algonquin name for the sacred Ottawa River. Our motion also secured the required city funding for the project and dedicate 1% of the construction costs estimated on the multi-use pathway, or about $100,000, towards Algonquin art. In addition to this, and this is very important, the motion directed staff to build in requirements in the tender for contractors to engage with Algonquin communities to identify Indigenous companies and individuals who could be offered employment opportunities throughout the project. Ce projet aura aussi des effets positifs pour nos partenariats algonquins et je crois que c'est un signe important de réconciliation entre nos peuples. This is a first in the city's history, and I'm very proud that we're doing this given the location and symbolism of this bridge to our Algonquin partners. At this time, I'm very pleased to invite Grand Chief John Boudreas, Algonquin Anishinàbeg Nation, to say a few words. Grand Chief.
Thank you. Miigwech. Kwe shibak kakina. Nin John Boudreas and Dejnagan Ogima Kichi Ogima Anishinàbeg. Councillor Leeper, Maire Maxime Pedneaud, Minister McKenna, Mayor Watson, Chief White Duck, and Mr. Nussbaum. Kwe kakina mino pijak udenen Ajikun Ogima William Commanda Ajikun Minopijak Kitchissippi Winnick Minopijak Kitchissippi Winnickwe. So welcome to the William Commanda Bridge, the Chief William Commanda Bridge. Welcome to all of you, the people of Ottawa-Gatineau, the men and women of Ottawa-Gatineau. I'm very honored and pleased to be here today to participate in this announcement, as it is a most fitting occasion in today's events and recent events and whatnot. There's no more need than the time right now for reconciliation, and these types of gestures are the first steps in reconciliation. Reconciliation is a long, long process, and it's fitting that today we announce the restoration of a bridge. It's very symbolic of where our reconciliation is today, where we have to reconstruct the bridges. We have to reconstruct those bridges of reconciliation and make things new again, and make the two sides of the bridges work together again. So I'm very pleased today that the energy and the effort that's been given by Mayor Watson in the City of Ottawa and the City of Gatineau and the federal government being involved, it's very encouraging to us, the Algonquin people, that there are going to be those initial steps for reconciliation. And that's why today we're very, very happy of this announcement, and we look forward to further developments with the City of Ottawa, with the City of Gatineau, and with everyone involved with the intention of reconciliation. Miigwech.
Well, thank you very much, Grand Chief, for those very kind and appropriate comments. I'd now ask Chief Dylan White Duck, Kitigàn-zìbì Anishinàbeg First Nations, to say a few words. Chief.
Quay, just pulling up my speaking notes here. Good morning. Quay Kakana, Minoshaba. It's an honor to be here with all these representatives here this morning and yourselves today. Want to thank everyone for coming out here, showing your support and solidarity in this this bridge name. I was very surprised and very taken back, and when the mayor Watson invited us to a meeting to discuss this bridge back in March. It was an honorary motion that he asked us to rename the bridge Chief William Commanda. You know, Chief William Commanda served Kitigàn-zìbì for many years. In fact, he served our community for close to 20 years, 19 years. He gave it his all. He provided everything he could throughout that time in those 20 years. After that political career with Kitigàn-zìbì Anishinàbeg as chief, he moved on to a bigger role to support all chiefs across Canada from a spiritual standpoint. This was before the AFN was introduced, the Indian Brotherhood Association, and you know, he lobbied for all First Nations. When I had a discussion with his daughter Evelyn Dawashi on Friday, there was one message that she wanted me to bring forward, and Chief William Commanda, his vision, his legacy that he wanted to leave was for all nations to work together. That's all he ever wanted after his long, extensive career in politics and trying to help First Nations. So that was the message that he always wanted to bestow on all nations. You know, every nation come together and work together. That's the message that he wanted us to provide to all people across Canada. You know, he was a bridge builder. This is what this bridge kind of entails moving forward. It's an honor to be here today as I stand on our proud ancestral, unceded, unsurrendered territory. As I stand here on these grounds, our people gathered here. It was a strategic location for our people to gather, you know, looking at the islands over here, the landscapes over here. It was a very useful territory in this part for our people since time immemorial. And with that being said, as I drove towards here, I seen all the signs of the NCC and the name Sir John A. Macdonald, and I implore and ask for the NCC, the City of Ottawa, and any higher levels of government to rename Sir John A. Macdonald Parkway. In this time of reconciliation, the era that we're entering into, it just doesn't make sense that we support a name like this on a parkway like this. You know, Sir John A. Macdonald commissioned the Davin Report to change that name, to bring residential schools to this country. So the Davin Report was the foundation of residential schools that was brought upon by Sir John A. Macdonald and his government. So I do implore and ask all higher levels of government to rename this parkway. And that being said, I want to acknowledge this bridge as we all move together in nation and holding hands when we cross this bridge together. I do hope that the bridge is painted. It's not that brown kind of like old style look there. I hope it has a different, better, vibrant color. And moving forward, that's all I ask. So welcome to the unceded territory. Miigwech, and take care. Miigwech.
Well, thank you. Merci beaucoup, Chief White Duck, and thank you for speaking with Evelyn and passing along her comments. Our friend Claudette Commanda was not able to join us today, and she sends her regrets. C'est maintenant mon plaisir d'inviter Maxime Pedneaud-Jobin, le maire de la Ville de Gatineau, d'offrir quelques mots. Maxime and I have worked closely together for the last 7 or 8, 10 years. Maxime is a leader with the Big City Mayor's Caucus. He announced earlier this year that he won't be seeking re-election, which is a great loss to the people of Gatineau, but he's accomplished a lot in his term, and please give a warm welcome to Monsieur Maxime Pedneaud-Jobin.
Quick, Akina. Bonjour à tous. Good morning to all. J'aimerais souligner la présence des gens en élaborant un peu plus sur la contribution, le travail qu'on a fait ensemble dans les dernières années. Parce que, comme M. Watson vient de le dire, j'ai décidé de ne pas me représenter. Je voudrais que mes premiers mots aillent à M. Watson pour le remercier de ce partenariat-là qu'on a fait entre les deux rives depuis 8 ans. Je pense que les villes n'ont jamais travaillé autant ensemble. On a aussi une approche pragmatique en se disant il y a des domaines où on doit travailler ensemble, où c'est nécessaire. Par exemple, en transport en commun, j'y reviendrai. En transport en commun, en tourisme, en développement économique, en politique, on a fait des choses importantes ensemble, les deux maires, de revendications qui ont donné des résultats en logement, pour les infrastructures, pour notamment le transport en commun. Donc, merci, M. Watson, pour ces années de collaboration-là. Je pense que c'était essentiel pour nos deux villes qu'on progresse de cette façon-là. I would also like to say thank you to Minister McKenna. As she said, the work is not completely done, but we've worked a lot on public transportation. We've done things that were actually never done before. We're very far off. We know that we're going to end this thing. It's just the question of when. But this huge tramway project, I think, couldn't have been done without the collaboration of Minister McKenna, of obviously Greg Fergus, as he said, a friend of 30 years, where we met at the University of Ottawa quite a long time ago. And so we've done a lot together. And Minister McKenna, yes, she worked on the tramway, and for us, it's maybe the biggest thing. But her government gave a lot to cities across Canada for housing, for infrastructure, for transportation. They were friends of cities for many years, and I want to recognize that as well. J'ai eu la chance de rencontrer les 3 derniers chefs de Kitigàn-zìbì et plus récemment, le chef White Duck, Dylan White Duck. Salutations à M. Boudria aussi, grand chef Boudria. Avant mon élection, il n'y avait jamais eu de rencontre officielle ni à Kitigàn-zìbì, ni dans le bureau du maire à Gatineau entre les représentants politiques de Kitigàn-zìbì et la mairie de Gatineau. Alors que, d'abord, au niveau des principes, ça n'a pas de sens et on occupe un territoire qu'on partage. Donc, on doit construire notre avenir ensemble. Puis, je pense qu'on a réussi à faire un certain nombre de belles choses, notamment avec le chef White Duck, où on a signé le plan d'action de lutte au racisme et à la discrimination de l'Assemblée des Premières Nations Québec-Labrador. Ça, pour moi, c'est important parce que ça prend des gestes symboliques comme en toponymie, qui sont des gestes puissants comme ce qu'on fait aujourd'hui. Ça prend aussi des processus à plus long terme qui font que la relation entre les allochtones et les autochtones change profondément et pour toujours. C'est une question de justice, c'est une question de mémoire, de respect de l'histoire. So thank you again to the First Nation leaders that are with us today. We have done some work. There's still a lot of work to be done, but it's extremely important that we do so. Je voudrais saluer aussi M. Nussbaum, premier dirigeant de la CCN. Là aussi, on a fait des gestes, en fait, M. Watson et moi, dès le début, là, dès l'une de nos premiers débats, ça a été d'avoir une place au conseil d'administration de la CCN. Et ça, pour moi, c'est central pour que la région travaille ensemble parce qu'on est assis un côté de l'autre un certain nombre de fois par année. On a l'occasion de préparer des rencontres ensemble, d'être mis au courant de dossiers régionaux importants. Et vraiment, je ne veux pas porter de jugement trop difficile sur le passé, mais quand j'ai été élu, la relation, disons, avec la CCN n'était pas toujours facile. Eux pourraient dire que c'était de notre faute, nous, on disait que c'était de leur faute, mais il reste que fondamentalement, on a changé cette situation-là où on avance vraiment comme des partenaires. Puis ça, pour moi, c'est important pour faire avancer la région dans toutes sortes de dossiers. Today's announcement is one of my favorite announcements because I celebrate the thing and they pay for everything else, the federal government and the city of Ottawa. But it's good because this bridge will lead to an amazing city, which was recognized by the American organization People for Bikes as the best biking city in Canada. So it's good that we built a bridge towards this magnificent city for bikers. Je pense que cette infrastructure-là va rassembler encore plus les deux rives dans un domaine qui est extrêmement important pour la santé physique des gens, pour la beauté des lieux, évidemment pour l'environnement, c'est-à-dire le transport actif. On a déjà une région qui, des deux côtés de la rivière, parce que je dois le dire, Ottawa était dans le top 10 aussi des meilleures villes au Canada. On a une offre extrêmement intéressante en transport actif, en vélo des deux côtés de la rivière. Puis cette infrastructure-là, pour moi, va symboliser un peu ce qu'on est capable de faire ensemble dans un domaine qui est extrêmement important, je vous l'ai dit, pour la santé des gens, pour la beauté des lieux, mais aussi et peut-être plus fondamentalement pour l'environnement. Et le pont va mener vers l'ouest, vers le parc des Cèdres, qui est un des plus beaux endroits à Gatineau, au cœur d'Aylmer, vers l'est, vers notre centre-ville, qui a là une offre particulièrement intéressante en vélo aussi, notamment le projet Zìbì, le centre-ville qu'on est en train de rénover, que le gouvernement fédéral est en train de rénover en refaisant un chaudière, éventuellement portage. Le tramway va passer en face. Fait que ce qui est aujourd'hui un projet, puis je suis content de voir que le conseiller Leeper, j'imagine, a travaillé fort pour que ça se fasse dans la prochaine année, va mener à vraiment un réseau extrêmement intéressant pour les deux rives. Donc, merci vraiment à nos partenaires d'Ottawa. Merci au gouvernement fédéral. Je pense qu'on pose un jalon important dans la construction d'une belle collaboration entre nos deux villes. Merci. Thank you.
Encore merci beaucoup, Maxime. Those are the formal remarks. We're now going to ask people who are up here on the front to pose with the photo of the bridge as it's going to be reimagined, and then we'll be back to take questions. On prend une photo avec des personnes ici, et après ça, on va prendre des questions. Merci. Thank you. Okay. And I should, just one final thank you. I see some of our staff are here. Thank you very much to our staff at the City have worked very, very hard behind the scenes to get us to where we are today. Merci beaucoup. Karina's here, of course, and others. and they are really the unsung heroes. And Jeff and I, at some point in the future, will be coming back to this site with some very exciting news about plans for the revitalization of this part of the shoreline. So stay tuned.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous. My name is Kendra Titley, and I will be today's moderator. Je m'appelle Kendra Titley, et je serai l'animatrice de ce point de presse. I will now invite each agency to ask their question. You may ask one question with a follow-up. Par ordre alphabétique, j'invite maintenant chaque organisme à poser une question et une question de suivi. We'll now start with Jackie Perez at CTV Ottawa.
Hello, Jackie. Well, it's another safe route to get between our two wonderful cities. As Maxime Pedneaud-Jobin, the mayor of Gatineau, pointed out, both our cities rank very high in terms of cycling favorability. So it's another way for residents and tourists alike to travel between our two cities on a designated path for cyclists and pedestrians, and in the wintertime, cross-country skiers.
Jackie, do you have a follow-up? We'll now go to André Lajoie at Eagle News.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Maire. André Lajoie, Eagle News. I was just wondering, this is one of the first bridge to relate Ottawa and Gatineau. Is there any more talks about the transportation new bridge in the future? As we know that we have many problems with the transportation crossing both rivers, both sides of the river.
Well, I'll offer a comment, and then my colleague Maxime. As you may know, I do not support investing over $1 billion in another bridge in the East End, particularly if it goes through Kettle Island. I've been very consistent in that position, and certainly the city is not involved in any formal discussions whatsoever. We think these kinds of announcements that allow people to get out of their cars and travel to Gatineau by bike or by foot are the routes to follow. And we also believe if there's additional funding of that nature for a bridge, we'd rather see it put into public transit, particularly stage 3 of LRT, which would go to Barrhaven, Stittsville, and Canada. And then, of course, we want to try to connect our two cities with rail between Gatineau and Ottawa. Alors, pour moi, la priorité est le transport commun, pas un autre pont. Maxime?
En fait, je n'ai pas grand-chose à ajouter. Pour moi, les principes qu'on a défendus, M. Watson et moi, restent les mêmes. Il y a un processus d'étude qui est en cours à la CCN qui regarde l'ensemble des enjeux de transport en commun avec l'ensemble des principes qui doivent être mis sur la table. Par exemple, le fait que quand on ajoute des infrastructures, bien, on fait plus de place aux autos. L'importance du transport actif, l'importance des alternatives à la voiture. Donc, pour moi, la démarche que la CCN fait, c'est la démarche en profondeur qui va nous mener à quelque chose. Je ne sais pas à quoi exactement, mais qui va nous, pour la première fois, peut-être faire une réflexion extrêmement en profondeur sur le transport. Mais l'erreur qu'il ne faut pas faire en matière de transport, c'est cibler une infrastructure ou une autre. Qu'est-ce qui règle la congestion? Le plus bel exemple, c'est, je crois, à Houston, ils sont rendus à 16 voies de chaque côté de l'autoroute. Puis quand ils en rajoutent une, on gagne quelques minutes de temps dans les 2 ou 3 années qui suivent. Puis après ça, il faut penser à une autre voie. Donc, c'est un modèle qui mène dans un cul-de-sac. C'est pour ça que l'analyse que la CCN fait, pour moi, va mener à une réflexion beaucoup plus profonde. Je ne sais pas quel type d'infrastructure elle va mener, mais une réflexion beaucoup plus profonde sur le transport entre les deux rives. Puis, pour moi, c'est ça la solution, une vraie réflexion basée sur la science. Merci.
Juste une autre question. Par rapport à l'itinérance à Gatineau, depuis 2018, on a eu des tornades, des inondations. Qu'est-ce que la Ville et le gouvernement font présentement pour aider les gens de Gatineau, qui est un gros problème présentement de logement et puis pour les sans-abri?
Je pourrais répondre assez longuement parce il y a beaucoup de choses qui sont faites, mais d'abord, je veux reconnaître le fait que c'est difficile ce qu'on vit à Gatineau. La tornade a frappé dans un quartier qui était particulièrement, où il y avait beaucoup de gens démunis. Il a détruit des logements qui étaient des logements abordables. Les inondations ont fait la même chose à Pointe-Gatineau, encore une fois dans des quartiers parmi les plus pauvres de Gatineau. Notamment grâce au gouvernement de Mme McKenna, on a investi, puis on va faire des investissements dans les prochains mois grâce à ce qu'on a appelé l'initiative rapide de logement, de création de logements pour aider les itinérants. On travaille beaucoup avec le gouvernement du Québec. Je dirais pour la première fois, c'est pas la première fois que je le dis, mais je le répète, avec une vision d'ensemble à long terme. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait à Gatineau pour sortir les gens de l'itinérance? Souvent, on y allait par des projets plus pointus. Là, il y a vraiment une vision d'ensemble à long terme. Par exemple, ce qui est en train d'être fait sur Grébert, c'est du logement de transition. Donc, vraiment d'accompagner les gens en dehors de l'itinérance parce que ce n'est pas qu'un enjeu de logement. On peut prendre quelqu'un qui est en situation d'itinérance, le mettre dans un logement, puis il va être dans la rue 2 jours plus tard parce qu'il y a des enjeux de santé mentale, de toxicomanie, de s'acclimater à un milieu de vie auquel il n'est plus habitué. C'est complexe, l'itinérance. Donc, il y a beaucoup de choses qui sont en train d'être faites présentement à Gatineau et je dirais que les montants d'argent en logement nous aident beaucoup. Là où il en manque encore, c'est des projets accès logis. Puis ça, on continue la bataille auprès du gouvernement du Québec parce que le taux d'inoccupation est extrêmement grand, puis les logements qui sont disponibles à Gatineau sont extrêmement chers. Donc, le problème de fond reste important, même s'il y a des actions importantes qu'on fait à court terme sur l'itinérance. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Nous allons maintenant à Marielle Guimont, à Radio-Canada.
Oui, ça donnait un autre choix pour la population de travailler, aller à Gatineau ou aller à Ottawa. C'est bon pour les résidents, certainement, de la ville d'Ottawa et Gatineau, d'avoir un autre lien entre les deux municipalités. Deuxièmement, c'est vraiment important pour le tourisme parce que le tourisme est le 3e plus grand secteur dans notre économie, la fonction publique, la haute technologie et 3e, le tourisme. Gatineau et Ottawa avaient une bonne réputation pour des cyclistes avec beaucoup de pistes, beaucoup des façons d'utiliser une bicyclette. Et c'est certainement bon pour l'environnement parce que c'est une autre façon de visiter Gatineau pour travailler, pour visiter des restaurants et vice-versa à Ottawa. Est-ce que tu peux répéter le premier phase? Oui. Oui, c'est vraiment une question pour Dr. Etches. Je ne suis pas un médecin, mais certainement, si ça c'est le cas, c'est nécessaire de travailler avec les 2 autres paliers du gouvernement, de trouver une solution. Mais je dois dire en français et en anglais, je suis très fier des résultats de la ville d'Ottawa pour les vaccins. Plus de 70% des résidents à recevoir la 2e dose. Et nous sommes numéro 1 entre les personnes de 12 ans à 17 ans dans toute la province de l'Ontario. So I'll just say on the doses, very proud that Ottawa has now reached over 70% double doses for our residents 18 and above. And we're number 1 in the province in terms of getting doses into young people's arms between 12 and 17. And that's vitally important, obviously, because we want these kids to get back to school safe and sound. Certainement, la priorité pour tout le monde est d'ouvrir des écoles en septembre. Et c'est vraiment important pour convaincre tous les parents de visiter un site pour faire une vaccination avec leurs enfants. And as I said, we're proud of the numbers. We need to reach 90%. We still have a ways to go, but we're on the right track. Merci.
Thank you very much. This is all the time we have. C'est tout le temps dont nous disposons aujourd'hui. Thank you.